we have with us on the show a Chartered Finance Analyst, Elizabeth Ekpo. Thank you very much for joining us on the program today. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you very much for having me as well.
So we've seen, basically for the uppermost part of the year up until this point, we've had the COVID-19 pandemic taking over issues and taking over things that have really been happening. But how can you say COVID-19 has redefined personal finance for individuals?
The COVID-19 pandemic is an unprecedented event. No one predicted the outbreak or the magnitude of the impact on the global economy. But it has also brought to the fore one of the things that we have always known, which is the fact that life is full of risk, uncertainties, but also opportunities. A lot of people have come into financial difficulties due to the negative effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the global economy, but also on business and household income. So more now than ever, people are beginning to rethink and be intentional about the way they manage their finances. So financial decisions such as spending less than you earn, saving, or having an emergency fund is more critical than ever, because this will provide the initial buffer you will need that will cushion against an immediate or sudden job loss or pay cuts. Another area will probably be in the way we manage our investments and the importance of maintaining a well-diversified portfolio. A well-diversified portfolio is a portfolio that is invested across, not just across asset classes, but probably across sectors and maybe across countries as well. So the COVID-19 crisis had affected the economy in different ways. We found some sectors being hardly and badly affected by the crisis, but we've also seen sectors that are winners as a result of the crisis. So if you have a portfolio that is highly concentrated, unfortunately, in a sector that is badly affected, then you will see the value of your investment decline drastically, probably overnight. But the well-diversified portfolio will probably have investments, yes, in some of the badly affected industry, but will also likely have investments in industries that are winners as a result of the crisis. So you find that overall, your investment loss is minimal. Another area is probably the importance of having investable capital to be able to take care of, to be able to have the flexibility to take advantage of market opportunities as they present themselves. At the onset of this crisis, we saw that markets reacted negatively to the crisis. Prices were at all-time low and valuations were depressed. So those with enough capital were able to swoop in and buy assets at very low prices, hoping that when the economy rebounds, they'll be able to sell them at a profit and make a fortune.
Okay, so one point is really emergency savings. This COVID-19 more than ever before has shown that emergency savings or having emergency funds is not something that you should toy with. But how people have lost their jobs during this time? How exactly do you think people like that can manage their personal finance during this time?
I say you need to first identify what your expenses are. If you have been in the habit of tracking your income and expense before now, it should be clear to you. But if not, then you need to basically take out time to write down what your expenses are so that you can know how much you really need, either on a daily, monthly, or weekly basis. That way, you know how much you really need. And if you have savings, you can already determine how long your savings will last you for. Another thing you need to do is be able to separate your income into the essentials and non-essentials with the aim of ensuring that you cut down on all your non-essential expenses. So your essential expenses will include things like money you spend on rent, money you spend on food, or money you spend on bills, which are the basic necessities you need to survive. The non-essential expenses will be probably money for clothing or money for a vacation. Those ones need to be cut down. And in terms of your essential expenses, you probably have to think about how do you reduce the cost of your essential expenses. So if you're a premium brand shopper, probably time to start thinking about substituting your products for cheaper brands or looking for alternative ways of reducing your cost. Another thing you need to start thinking about is how do you start earning money as soon as possible? So if you have skills, how do you monetize those skills? For example, if you know how to make hair, how do you offer hairdressing services to your friends and family for a fee? If you have assets, how do you put that to alternative uses? You have a car, you may want to consider putting it up for Uber or Taxify so that you can have money coming in. Overall, the important thing is to ensure that you manage your emotions, keep keep hope alive, because financial stress can have an effect on your physical and mental well-being, which in turn increases your cost. So you must be assured that you are having the right attitude until things are able to start looking up for you.
Okay, but let's look at, I mean, you're a financial expert. What exactly are the gains of personal finance management? Because you find out that many people get actually personally managing their finances.
So personal finance management is all about how you manage your money and plan your future. So it will involve activities and decisions that have an impact on your financial well-being. So some of the benefits of having a good finance management strategy is that you're able to know how much you have or how much you do not have, and you're able to make the best out of your money. It will also help you make the right money and investment decisions, taking into consideration your personal circumstances and objectives. And note that I said right investment decisions. I didn't just say good investment decisions. There's a difference, because while an investment may be good, it may not necessarily be right for you. You have to consider investment opportunities in light of your financial goals and objectives, and in light of certain factors that may be peculiar to you, such as your age, how much money you have, your beliefs, and stuff like that. This will enable you to know the right investment opportunities to pursue. Also, with a good financial management plan, you have this flexibility of responding quickly to unpredicted events, but still be on track to achieving your financial goals and objectives.
Okay, you wrote, you have actually developed an expense income tracker, an income expense tracker rather. What exactly, I would like us to talk extensively on it. How exactly do you think that this can be useful to Nigerians, and even in practicing personal finance and helping them go financial independence?
Okay, so the income and expense tracker that I developed is a template that helps you keep record of your monthly income and expenses. So what I've done is pre-populate the sheet with typical Nigerian household income and expense lines. So you will have income lines like money from salary, gifts you receive from people, or interest from your investments. And then you have expense lines that are divided into specific buckets of expenses, such as money you spend on your home, money you spend on salary for your domestic staff, money you spend on your giving, so including your tithes, your offering, and those kind of expenses, and money you even spend on yourself, caring for yourself. So at a glance, you are able to see where your money is going. At a glance, you're able to see how much you are able or not able to spend at the end of the month, and you are able to make some adjustments as you deem fit. Also, the tracker has a sheet that prompts you to begin to think and write down your financial goals and objectives, dimensioning them into your short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. So your short-term goals will be goals you probably want to achieve between now and the next 5 years. Your medium-term goals will be goals you want to achieve between 5 and 10 years. And your long-term goals will be goals you plan on achieving the next 10 years and above. And putting your goals and your income, your financial situation side by side, at a glance, you're able to see how far away or how close you are to achieving your financial goals, and make the necessary lifestyle adjustments. And if possible, you probably have to start considering speaking to a professional and asking for help.
I would like us to take it one after the other. In setting goals for the year, we are already in the 6 months of the year, and then we have about 6 more months to go. Itemizing it, how efficient is this? And looking at it, taking it one step after the other, how possible is it to achieve these goals personally for individuals?
So when it comes to setting goals, you have to think smart. You have to set your goals using the SMART methodology. So your goals have to be specific, they have to be measurable, they have to be achievable, they also have to be realistic. So the fact that we're already into the middle of the year, you probably have to ask yourself, is this goal realistic to be, or will it be possible to achieve them before the end of the year? You also have to put timelines, realistic timelines to your goals. So that's what you need to do. It's never too late or too early to start, but when you set these goals, you need to ensure that they are smart so that you're able to track them and not get discouraged at the end of the year when you are not meeting them or when you are halfway through meeting them.
I would like to ask you a very interesting question. How about if, because you find out that many people set goals and then when they don't achieve them, especially financial goals, there are temptations. You could plan to save for a particular, let me just give an example of planning, probably say, I need a car by the end of this year. and you're saving in that money, and then there are some needs that come up. How can people come over that will I say temptation to actually spend the money instead of having the goal and then following track of what they've set?
So I think what you have to determine for yourself is how important is this goal to you, and what is this alternative need that has come up that you need to spend money on. Because you have a financial plan, you're able to make an informed decision when taking that alternative. So you end up not feeling bad if you do either one of them. But most importantly, you have something that you're working towards. And when you actually achieve them, you feel happy and you're confident in yourself when you achieve your goals.
Would you say having a financial advisor in terms of achieving these goals would come a long way?
But yes, I would say it is quite important to speak to a financial advisor. We all know that people are experts in different fields. So someone might be expert in the medical field, but may not be an expert in planning their finances. They are financial experts who would help you be able to think of ways or the investment opportunities that you need to take advantage of, or the lifestyle changes you probably should think of making to be able to achieve your financial goals and objectives. Also, financial experts also have access to more information and other type of research that you may not have access to. There's a reason why they are called experts, because they know why they are doing. So it's clearly important that you probably need to speak to a financial planner or advisor where you see that you really need to.
I would like us to be very practical. Really, you'll find that many people that, and maybe even I myself inclusive, that want to have a financial balance in terms of and growing into independence and even wealth creation, don't actually have, maybe know exactly who to meet or organizations to meet. Could you suggest some that we can say, okay, I personally right now, I want to have someone that would monitor me in terms of investment, in terms of my savings. Who can I go to, or where can I go to?
So
You are one of them, definitely.
So when it comes to speaking to a financial expert, one thing you need to consider is the security of your money and the security of your assets. So most importantly, you need to look at the sector that you want to invest your money, or sector that you want to speak to someone in, and consider the licensing of that person in that sector. So you probably begin to look at people who are properly registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, who is the apex regulator of the Nigerian capital market. So you have your investment advisors, you have your stockbrokers, you have your custodians who help you keep your assets safe. But you need to ensure that those people are people who are properly registered and they have continuity, because it's a business. So when one man goes, all your asset doesn't automatically go. It's an institution that can live from generation to generation.
I would like us to go into budgeting. And it's actually one of the things on the sheets, on the income expense tracker that you developed, having the fact that each month when you get a particular income for salary earners, you actually point out what exactly you want to use each fund for, and then you follow through on it. Now, in a scenario where you've budgeted the income you've received, and at the end of the month, or before the end of the month, because you find many scenarios where career individuals end up finishing the money, even with budgeting, finishing the money before the end of the month. What you have to say concerning that? What's your perspective and advice?
So if you fall into that kind of situation, then you obviously know that you are living above your means and spending more than you earn. So you need to sit down and tell yourself the truth and make the important lifestyle changes that you need to make. Where exactly are you spending more money on, and how can you cut down on such expenses? Are there expenses that are essential, or are they non-essential expenses? Are you spending too much on fast food? You may want to consider cooking homemade meals, which are cheaper. Where's your money going to? This will help you dimension how to cut down on your expenses. Or you probably have to start thinking of how do you want to increase your income? So personal development then comes in. How do you develop yourself so that you can earn more? How do you get a better paying job and stuff like that? Those are some of the things you need to consider. But definitely you need to start asking yourself some serious questions and make the required changes that are necessary.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth Ekpo. But let's look at financial balance. We've seen scenarios right now where people are actually working from home, and the reality is, even beyond this period of partial lockdown or even total lockdown in some countries, many people will still have to work from home. So how do we ensure financial balance when working from home?
So our new normal in COVID-19 is that many of us are having to work from home. And while there are benefits of working from home, such as an improved work-life balance or savings on some expenses, working at home also comes at an additional cost. So the challenge is usually being able to strike a balance such that the money you save by not going to work every day, doesn't get wiped up by the increased cost of working from home. So while you save money from transportation, car repairs, gym membership, or spending on exotic restaurants and lunches at home, you probably will be spending additional money on data costs, airtime, gas, electricity, and you have to now sit down and dimension how you're able to balance it so that you don't end up being in a worse off situation because you're working from home. So that is where tracking your income and expense is really important. By tracking your income and expense, you can be able to identify where your money is going. And by identifying where your money is going, you need to ask yourself some hard decisions. How do I cut down on these expenses? So if your data cost has increased exponentially and you are living in a house with one or more additional people you are all subscribing for individual data plans, they probably want to start thinking, how do we want to consider getting a home Wi-Fi with unlimited data where we all contribute to? That way your cost of data reduces on an individual level. Also, things like electricity, you want to start looking at ensuring that gadgets or lights that are not in use are turned off when they are not in use. In terms of your gas supply or in terms of your diesel and petrol usage, you want to consider, if you have a diesel gen or you have a gen that is consuming so much petrol, you want to consider, do I buy a smaller gen that I can use during the day that powers at least the fan and I'm able to charge my laptop? That way you're reducing costs also. You also have to think about developing DIY skills, so do-it-yourself skills. What are the skills that you can develop that you can do yourself without necessarily having to call a professional to do them? I myself have developed a skill to make my daughter's hair. So I learned, I kind of dabbled into hair making while I was in high school. So now I'm able to make her hair. I'm not an expert, I'm not very good at it, but I'm able to save that cost of having to take her to the salon to make her hair, to be able to ensure that I have enough money left at the end of the month. So things like that, lifestyle changes can also help you be able to cut down your expenses so that the extra cost of working from home does not become overwhelming and you're able to achieve a financial balance.
Let's move from, there's a question I have on saving. So peradventure there's an individual at home or watching right now and I'm saying that I want to start saving from scratch right now. How can I start? And then secondly, from what point do you move from savings to investment?
So if you want to start saving, I think making that decision that you want to start saving is very good. And then you need to ask yourself, how much can I afford to save at the end of the month? But your savings shouldn't be the last thing that you do at the end of all your expenses. You should save as the first thing you do. So immediately your monthly income comes, the first thing that should go out of your account, if you are not a believer, should be your savings. And if you're a believer, probably your tithes. That's the first thing that, so put your savings on, automate your savings so that's the first thing that goes out of your account. That way you have the discipline to ensure that you're saving and you're not using the money for other expenses that come up later. So typically you should be able to save at least at the start, 10 to 20% of your income should go to savings. And immediately you start saving, you need to consider investing. So investing does not necessarily have to be a lump sum. From your 5,000 naira, you can start saving instead of leaving the money idle in a regular bank account. So you can consider opening a mutual fund account where your savings automatically goes into and you begin to earn some money until you're able to build up enough investable capital to invest in probably other high earning assets.
Thank you so much for coming on the program. And unfortunately, I have to go right now. We definitely want to have you back on the program soonest to share more tips with us on how to personally manage our finances.
Thank you so much, Taiwo. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. It was great having you today.
If you're interested in the income expense tracker, you can send a mail to programs@poshareng.com or tweet at personalfinanceng so it can be shared with you. Also visit our website www.postshareng.com to get more updates from our news stories and videos. You can also follow us on our social media platforms showing on the screen for further updates on our market reports. So we'll come your way again next week. Thank you for watching. Do have a great weekend and bye for now.